Welcome to Basic Brewing Video. I'm James Spencer.
I'm Steve Wilkes.
You know, we're always on the latest trends.
Yes, we are.
We're so trendy. So I thought that I would, these things are out now, these Brut IPAs, and these Brut Pale Ales.
Yep.
Do you know what they are? What the heck is a Brut beer?
My take on it is that it's a Brut IPA in the same sense that there's Brut champagne, which means a very dry or the driest form of champagne, therefore the driest form of IPA.
Dry meaning not sweet?
Not sweet. All the sweet is gone.
Wow.
So that's the point of the beer as far as I can tell.
So how Mr. Homebrew shop owner, if I were to come into your shop and ask you how to brew one of these, what's the difference between a regular beer and a Brut beer?
Well, again, you've fermented it down to zero Plato. You've taken all the sugar out. And the way to do that is to use a product at the homebrew level called Ultra Firm, which is made by White Labs.
And my nickname in high school.
That's right. Well, the ladies. But Ultra Firm is...
my superhero name.
It's an enzyme, and it's a word about that long. I can't say it. So look it up. We'll write it down. Can you say it?
Ultra Firm.
Oh, there you go.
From White Labs.
Anyway, the chemistry name's about that long. But Ultra Firm is an enzyme that will convert those sugars, or I should say those starches that normally would not convert, and be left in the beer as, say, body. Mm-hmm. It will convert those into sugars that yeast can eat.
Shorter carbohydrate chains.
That's right. What he said.
Yeah. So I decided to give it a shot. So here's what I did. You want to open and
Sure.
pour while I'm yakking here? So this is a 5-gallon batch, or 19 liters. I started off with 9 pounds.
Do you need to smell the cork? I mean, it is a Brut. Will it be fine, sir?
Smell this is great.
Okay.
Okay. 9 pounds or 4 kilograms of two-row, 1 pound or 450 grams of Vienna. And I did a two-step mash. I went at 140 degrees Fahrenheit or 60 C for 30 minutes, and then I added the Ultra Firm at that time. So, trying to mash at a lower temperature and using the Ultra Firm to break down those sugars.
Right.
And then I raised it up to 150 degrees Fahrenheit or 65 C for 1 hour after that. And I collected the wort, and to that wort I added only half an ounce or 14 grams of Cascade at 7.8% alpha acid for 60 minutes. And then 5 minutes before the end of the boil, I did 1.5 ounces or 42 grams of Cascade. And then I collected my wort. It started out at 1048, I fermented with Imperial A30 Corporate, and it finished at 1006. So it's finished a little fatter than I wanted it to, but it's lower. It's about half the gravity of usually my beers finish out at like 1010.
Yeah.
So it did, get rid of some of those residual sugars. So I dry hopped with an ounce of Cascade in the keg. It turned out to be 5.5% alpha acid. So it's let's call it a Brut-ish pale ale.
Good beer.
It's tasty.
Yeah.
It's not as dry as I wanted it to be, but it's a little drier than my beers usually are.
I would say that that's true. It's a little bit drier. I've had a commercial example of the beer from our buddy Sean Slape at Crisis, and it was very dry. So if you live in Fayetteville, try Sean's beer. It's really, I thought he really nailed that dry aspect of it.
Yeah.
This is not that dry, though it's pretty darn close.
Yeah. And it's pretty tasty. It's light and refreshing. Mm-hmm. This is I carbonated it a little higher than normal, which was another aspect of this beer. It's supposed to be, champagne-y or bright. It's a keg fill, so we didn't get the benefit of it. We lost some of that.
Yeah.
Although it is sparkly.
Oh, yeah. It actually is quite refreshing as a beer. And the Cascade hops really come through. Mm-hmm. It's nice.
Yeah, it's nice and juicy in a grapefruity kind of way. I'm happy with it, although, and even though I I considered, doing some sort of a tactics to lower the gravity even more. After I tasted the beer, I was like, oh, this is good. I like it. So, but you have a customer who's been on the audio show.
That's right.
Who actually had a similar situation where the beer didn't ferment as low as he wanted, and he did take remedial action.
He did. He did another pitch of the enzyme.
Was that Joe Covey?
It was Joe Covey. And he did it. Joe, I hope I don't get this wrong, but he did it in the keg. So he had finished the beer. Boy, I can't remember the exact steps that he took, but he came back in actually a few days after he brewed it, after it fermented, and he got another packet of Ultra Firm, and he repitched it. I want to say that he did it. He did a couple of pitches the first time. That he did it early in the mash, and then very late. And then he still was about where you're at. I want to say he was about 10:06, maybe 10:07. Came back in the store. We kind of butted heads about it for a little bit, or I should say, put our heads together, and just decided, well, let's just try it. And he did, and it worked. And it really lowered the final gravity all the way down, and really dried it out.
Of course, if you got fermentation in your keg, maybe you ought to
flip
the release valve up so that
exactly. So
because you're going to create more sugars, and then any yeast that's still in there is going to be happy again. So you don't want to overpressurize your system.
And as I recall, again, forgive me, Joe, if I get any of the details wrong, but as I recall, he didn't do any more gravity readings. He just judged it based on the fact that it was making pressure.
Yeah,
it was creating pressure. And then when we drank the beer, it was clearly had dried out. So if you get a Brut-ish beer that you want to dry out even more, there is remedial action that you can take. My newest style is going to be extra dry. So extra dry champagne is sweeter than Brut champagne. So you could call this an extra dry.
Oh, well, there you go.
So there, yeah.
I was going to name this Et tu Brut Ale.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's enough.
We can quit now.
All right. Well, try it and see what you think. It's a delicious beer as is, but if you want to be more trendy, dry it out a little more.
Dry it out. Try it out.
Try it out. Dry it out.
Try it.
Cheers, everybody. Happy brewing.
Happy brewing.
Come and visit us online. At basicbrewing.com, you can find archive lists of our audio and video podcasts on home brewing. You can also find our DVDs and our Brewer's Logbook, where you can track and log up to 50 batches of beer. If you're in Fayetteville, Arkansas, stop by Steve's Brew Shop or find him online at stevesbrewshop.com.
I'm moist.
Yeah, no kidding.